What's up, teammates? First of all, I'd like to start out with thank you everybody who sent in such kind replies and comments. It really helped a lot, actually. Got motivated. I realized that, there needs to be somebody on the positive end, and everybody feels like I have a different outlook, maybe even a positive outlook, as hard as that seems for other people to think. But anyway, that's the way I'm doing it. Staying on the positive side, staying out here, even with it, just a few of us that go through it, even if it's not anymore. The fact that, the ones who responded, 9 likes is more likes than I ever got. It's just people seem to motivated to help out to keep me around, so I'm gonna stay around. So that's that. Thank you very much, everybody. Now to the decision. To the actually more directly to the interview. Okay? Now y'all gonna have to follow me on this one. It might take a while. But look, my wife says nothing good about me to my face. She loves me to death, but she'll never give me any type of compliment. She does behind my back. People tell me all the time. But never to my face. I say this to say the only thing she gives me credit for is that I know people. I know people and I know people in situations. Yeah, I say to anyone, I'll say, if I don't know anything, I know people. Because I do know people. I know because I do it. I just do it naturally. As soon as I see you, or especially if it's a man, as soon as I shake your hand, I have a feel for your personality. When I shake your hand, I look at your watch and your wrist to see what type of jewelry you choose to wear. Then I look to see if your shirt matches your shoes. I'll see what type of, headwear you're wearing, if you have anything on your ears. I just do it all naturally when I look at somebody because I size up everything I see. So I just judge situations. I can see way people use their cues in situations just naturally. It's something I do. And I looked at the Antonio Pierce interview. First of all, the first time it came on, as soon as he said, I'm starting Jordan Minchow, I turned off the damn report and walked away. I walked away like mad, like when I walk away from an argument, like you just got to get away from the situation because if I stay near the situation, I'm going to just blow the whole situation apart, mess around, throw my own laptop across the room. But outside of that, I came back to look at the interview, and I feel like there's a lot of cues in Antonio Pierce's behavior that show me, that make me think that what he had to do and what he said in making Gardner Minshew the starter was not what he himself wanted to do. I think it came down to, if, like he said, the talk to the three, and he got convinced to let Gardner start. I'll get into why I believe they convinced him or what they used to convince him. But first, I want to start off with why I believe he was upset at the very beginning of the press conference. So, and we'll go through it. And got some back. I got notes again. I'm back in it. So, first part of the note. AP looked pissed off from the beginning. Just from jump. As soon as he turned on the computer, there was no real, introduction to himself. There was no, hey, how you doing? AP is usually, if not always jovial, extremely polite, considerate. But he came out, and immediately before the guy could welcome any questions, even finish his sentence, he cut him off and said, look, I'm here to say that Gardner Minshew is going to be the starting quarterback. Yeah, for the 2025 season, we're going to start Gardner Minshew. Then the first thing he says, it's not because of what happened last night. which is a reference to Aiden O'Connell and the pick six. Is naturally that, because that's, what he would refer to if he's trying to defend Aiden to a certain extent, which is what I see him doing as well as I watched more of the interview. So we go to the next thing that I noticed is in his verbiage, whenever he talked about having Gardner Minshew as the starter for the season, he kept using phrases like, "We want to get it to a fast start. We want to make things happen for the first quarter of the season." There was another thing that I wrote down that he wrote, but anyway, he was rolling out answers that were suggesting that this is something that we're starting out with, and this is not what I actually want. But he's not supposed to say that. But in situations like that, when you have to say something that you don't want to say, or you're still forced to put your feelings into it, subconsciously, you say things that you want to hedge to try to protect what you actually want to be the answer. So, like when he was asked about Aiden, and he told the reporter about why isn't he the starter, and the first thing he wanted to clarify is that Aiden has starting ability. First thing he said, well, let me first say that Aiden does have the ability to be a starter in this league. Wait, no. Aiden O'Connell will be a starter in this league. If it's not this year, it's next year or something down the line. See, what he's supposed to just say is Gardner Minshaw's the starter. But he wants to let his piece be known by hedging into what he believes about Aiden O'Connell in himself. It's something that he wants to get out. He is not supposed to get out, but it just naturally comes out. It's part of human nature. I do it just as much as anybody else, and I try to focus on not doing it and still fall into the trap, because it's just naturally wanting yourself to do what you want to do while you're doing something that someone is making you do. So, other things that happened in the interview that show me that Antonio Pierce is not all sold in on this. Whenever they ask him about Gardner Minshew, the only compliments he gives him is that he's a veteran, he's has a good rapport with the teammates, he's a leader, and he's creative when he gets out of the pocket. But now, yes, as a side note, a little something of knowledge to keep in your head, in these situations, whenever someone tells you anything and then says but, they don't believe anything they just said. That's why they're hedging it with but, because they're saying what they think what they have to say. They're saying what is supposed to be necessary usually to say in that situation. Yet they still would rather get how they feel out there. So they will say what they're supposed to say, then they will put a but in to get their side of it in. So whenever someone says something, but whatever they said before that, pay that shit no attention. And whatever they say after the but is how they really feel. Okay? So, and that's what happened when he talked about Gardner Minshew and his leadership and that. But he has to work on staying in the pocket long enough to hit the second read. When he gets out of the pocket, he does. He can work some magic. We've seen it sometimes, but we need to, work on, ball control and turnovers, lack of turnovers, whatever, same thing. But what I'm saying is, he never really speaks on how talented Gardner Minshew is. But when he talks about Aiden, he always talks about his accuracy, his ability to see down the field, his control in the pocket. He is likely to give Aiden a compliment about his skill when he discusses Aiden O'Connell, and he does not with Gardner Minshew. Specifically, intentionally, then there's no reason to say that that's what it is, but it is there because if you watch it and you know it, then you see it. And if you watch it because now you know it, you'll see it too if you go back and watch the interview. Back to more. I think I did the whole thing about when he said Aiden will be a starter. Yeah, I did that part. So yeah, those are the things that I believe were the cues that I saw in Antonio Pierce's presser that has me feeling like he didn't want to make this decision. It has me feeling like there was, I guess, a trio of individuals in on this decision, and I believe he basically got voted out. It was 2-1, and I believe there's a reason why Minshew is starting over Aiden O'Connell, and I think those reasons are what TT and the offensive coordinator Getsky were used to convince Antonio Pierce to start Gardner Minshew. And I think basically it's his mobility. The problem with what's going on right now, I think they tried to tell him, is we have 3 of our projected 5 starters not playing right now. They're quasi-injured or not off the PUP list, but they're not on the field, but they're in some type of limbo of, yeah, they're hurt and we don't want to tell anybody how hard or how much, but we got to treat them like glass inside of a steel box. So there's something going on with that. And they don't want all of that out there. And they also know that protecting Aiden with a line that's somewhat in shambles is going to be difficult. And in trying to do that, it's going to be hard for Aiden to succeed with people crashing down on him. And Gardner's ability to be mobile when he has no offensive line can help us as a team get more offense rolling. And I'm sure, Gatsky had something to say around, I've had offensive with, quarterbacks who can't throw before, a la Justin Fields. So I know how to make Gardner be, use what he has to do what we need him to do and make his best parts of him shine and try to use his shortcomings as little as possible. And, the mistakes he makes is going to be the mistakes that are all his, but the plays he makes are going to be the plays that are all his sometimes. And we just got to hope for more pluses than minuses. And it's better for us to use that than to throw Aiden in there with no offensive line, go out and get early losses, have the fans turn on them, and have that type of situation where it's worse for Aiden if he goes out there, starts, and loses, and then the fans call for his head, and then they're going to want Gardner Minshew, and then the controversy begins, or they're not going to want to take him out, or the fans are going to demand that he comes out as soon as Aiden has a good game, or it's going to turn into a mess. But that's the way they want to have to start out, because Aiden can't move. He can't go out there early and start losing. It's going to be tough for him and the team to come back from that, because the fan base is going to go nuts all over him. So, in a way, that not starting Aiden is a way of protecting him. Now, am I looking too far into it and saying that's what they said? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense. Especially since I think Antonio Pierce was like, I think our O-line is doing good. I think the young guys are holding up. As a matter of fact, I did have something to say about that, because like they're saying, we don't have a healthy O-line, and what I believe they're saying is we don't have a healthy O-line, so we should go with the mobile quarterback and just try to, manufacture our offense based on what Gardner can do. And once you get to the, if you watch the press conference, they say, someone asked Antonio Pierce, so what do you think about your offensive line, considering so many people are, or how is their protection? And then if you watch, you can see him close his eyes and kind of shake his head. It's kind of a key to frustration, like a here we go with this type of thing. If look for it when you see it, because when he does it, he gives his response with his eyes closed. It's a reaction that people use when they're saying something and thinking something else, but they're like squeezing it out of themselves. It's just what I've seen before. This is not me trying to throw this out there because I want to convince myself that, Aiden's going to be the starter. So I'm looking at any possible way to, manufacture a thought that will come to me that'll make it seem like, yeah, I think that can happen. I'm not trying to fool myself into feeling better, is what I'm trying to say. But what I see, what I know, who I am, and what happened is all just factual information. It's my, what I see is from my angle, but I trust my angle. And that's what I'm saying. So, when he talked about the O-line, he spoke as if he was like, I think we did really, really good. Really well. Anyway, it seemed to me, in the way he answered it, and with the eyes closed, the kind of downtrodden, I think they played really, really well. Actually, it seems as though he was defending the O-line. He was expressing in that the eyes closed and the downtrodden. You see, he was present. Man, I think they read really well. I'm getting it from other areas that it's not, but you can tell he's like, man, I think they did really, really good. I mean, we had a pocket, no one got sacked. I don't think we have a problem with our O-line, although that's what they gave as the reasoning to start Gardner Minshew, if my observations are correct. So, I believe that Aiden will be a starter at some point this year. How it goes, who knows? But I said it last year, and I'll say it again this year. Aiden will be the starter at some point in the year. And once he gets in, he's not coming out. So, I'm not really worried about that part now. It's like when we first got Brock Bowers and everybody was like, what they had. Or for me personally, not for everyone. I don't know what everyone went through, but when we first got Brock Bowers, I just stared at the screen like I did when the Chiefs won the last Super Bowl, just astonished. And then I walked away. We had that conversation. So, oh man, I kind of lost my place with the notes. But anyway, we'll end that part of the discussion. Antonio Pierce presser and the way his behavior was, the way he answered the questions, and from what I usually use to analyze people, and I think I'm good at it. And, I could be just saying this to make myself feel better. I don't believe so. I try to stay level-headed about these things. So I'm just saying I feel better about it because of what I feel like I saw in Pierce's action and the way he delivered the message in the presser. Now, I'm worried. I'm not worried. I'm more concerned now with the player reactions because that's going to be the interesting part. What are the players going to say about it? How are they going to, respond? Now I'm going to be interested to see that body language. I'm interested to see those responses. I'm interested to see how much joy or how excited or how enthused they are about having Gardner Minshew as a quarterback. I want to see if it's the words they say are genuine, and we'll see who really does care, doesn't care. I believe, once the interviews start going down. And I also think it's interesting with the interviews that no one from the team has said anything. And no one has called any players to get any reaction. I don't understand that. Why no one else from the team has said anything to this point. I don't understand how sports people wouldn't at least call for a reaction. If they called for a reaction and say on their show, we called for a reaction, but we couldn't get a hold of them, something. Not that I'll watch a whole bunch of news, so maybe somebody did it somewhere and I just don't know. But from what I've watched and what I've seen, and I'm always on YouTube searching for everything, so I haven't seen any reactions from the players. And that's what I'm going to be interested in, especially Devontae Adams, because I don't know how much he knew about this before it was announced, if he knew the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure once he heard it, the flashbacks of the hospital ball that tight end got came right through his head. That was the first thing he thought in his head, whether he wanted to or not. His personal safety came as soon as he said Gardner Minshew. He just remembered, you mean the hospital ball guy? We're starting him. That's where we're going with this? Was he excited about it? Was he accepting of it? I'm sure he was. Was he excited about it? Perhaps. I don't believe that he would be, considering whenever Devontae Adams talk about Aiden O'Connell, there's a certain smile that he gets to. He likes to say that he believes in him. He says that constantly. So I don't believe that he's happy to hear about this. Trey Tucker is not happy to hear about this. His boy is Aiden, and now he has to go in there and work with Minshew, who threw him that terrible ass pass, but he's got the skills to adjust from looking this way because the ball's supposed to be here to looking all the way over here to where the ball ends up going. And that's his longest play. And people act like he meant to do that. Like, ooh, he threw it away from the safety. No, he didn't. If he had thrown it straight where he was looking, where Trey Tucker was looking for the ball to come from, he'd have went in a daggone touchdown. But he threw it way off to the other side and way deep. And see, I'm going off on Gardner Minshew right now when I'm actually supposed to be talking about something completely different. Like I said, even I do it. Trying to stay fair with this. So, back to Devontae Adams being like, oh, hell no, this is the Hollywood boy. Trey Tucker like, damn, y'all just going to do my homie like that. You know, Minshew and, no, not Minshew, I'm sorry. We know Aiden and Big Mike got a relationship. I mean, we saw that on the field even last year. So, and if you ever get to see anything where they interact with each other on the field or in, you know, little whatever clips in the, you know, background and, you know, in the showers or, you know, in the locker room shit, they always tend to be near each other and playing around each other. Just on the field in general because they're rookies. They came together in the same class. They were confused and scared at the same time with the stress of being starters. So they got that connection. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have a certain connection with Aiden after this time who are going to feel like, damn, really? I mean, there's a lot of fans that feel like, damn, really? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's no reason for Devontae to feel like, damn, really? We going to go to backyard ball now with Gardner Minshew. We're going to have to see if he can make it work because he likes to leave the pocket. And Antonio Pierce brought that up when he said, but we need to stay in there looking for our second and third reads and let it rip and not leave the pocket too soon. That's what Antonio Pierce said because that's the way he feels because he said but before that. So we know where Devontae, I believe we know where Devontae is with the whole Minshew starting thing. But another thing that I didn't see coming was so many Aiden defenders online and YouTube. And, you know, I thought there would be a lot of Minshew mania because, you know, there's so much Aiden hater out there. I thought, you know, there would be a lot more players or, you know, fans and YouTubers would be more excited about this, you know, because there were so many anti-Aiden people out there, you know, before this and during training camp that, you know, I thought that they were going to be like, see, I told you, see, I told you, see, I told you. And man, there's not as much Minshew mania as I thought there'd be. There's a lot of Aiden defending going on, actually, a whole lot, way more than I expected to a certain extent. Because I believe people were believing what they were hearing out of camp, that they were toe and toe as far as, you know, the competition. They've been saying it the whole time, so people are like, that's the way it must be. But then we go to the game and they look and they see what Minshew is doing out there, and they're like, oh, well, maybe what they were saying in camp wasn't quite as true as we thought. Even the Aiden haters who finally got what they wanted, people like Sanji, wasn't as excited as I thought he would be. He would, you know, even he had to defend himself and defend Minshew as he was saying he got the job. You know, whose only defense and other people's only defense is that he's willing to run out, get out of the pocket, and he's willing to throw the ball downfield. And in his own statement, trying to pump up his quarterback that he wants to play, that he said he likes, he also himself doesn't realize he said, but I know he he throws some crazy passes sometimes, but we think that that's what you got to take from Gardner Minshew. You know, you got to take good plays with the bad plays. It's more explosive that way, and you know he's trying to convince us and himself that he was right and that the Raiders made the right decision because of what he was hearing. So it's ridiculous. The the defense that Aiden was getting from the average Joe, from the fans and the YouTube guys who I thought hated him, like it's Graf and Wasted and who else? There's a couple of others out there who I thought were going to be like happy we got Aiden, and they were confused about it. Well, some of them were kind of like there were more people confused about it than I thought. So that maybe the Aiden train is still the Aiden bandwagon is still there, and I think preseason showed a lot of people as fans that Gardner Minshew is not as good as Aiden O'Connell. Everybody looked and realized that, yeah, we like the running, we like the flash, but Aiden the better game manager. So that's what it's been. And people realize that by going through the preseason. And I think there's a lot of more people defending Aiden than I thought there would be. Those people will be on the fence when it comes to having Gardner Minshew starting, because there's more Aiden defenders or people who say I thought it would be Aiden, but I'm fine with it being Gardner. So there's people on the fence, and Gardner has his life in his hands. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be a thrill show. That's the way he runs his life. It's a thrill show. That's the way he plays football. So let's get ready for the rise of Minshew Mania, I guess. We'll see what he can do out there. And, hopefully there's no quarterback controversy, because if there's no quarterback controversy, that means Minshew's performing well. And if he's performing well, then, Aiden not being in there is me still being wrong, And I'll happily take that for the victories. You know what I'm saying? I take a punch in the stomach for a Raiders victory. I'm not afraid of that. It's nothing. But, the silver lining is I'm feeling better. The silver lining is I still believe that Antonio Pierce wants Aiden to start. That's just the way I feel. If you think about what I say and you want to look at the presser and compare it, I think, at least you can understand where I'm coming from. Whether I'm right or not, you can see what I'm seeing and then judge, my opinions for yourself as you observe the situation. I told you from the beginning, y'all gonna have to stick with me on this one. If y'all want to make it here, I understand, but I wanted to get the whole damn thing off my chest. You know what I'm saying? So, thanks for letting me know that y'all actually respect my opinion and my voice. I appreciate it. I'm back on it. I'm going to stay on it. Like I said I was from the beginning, I'm not going to get frustrated and quit. Aiden wouldn't quit, so neither am I. J. Michael know that. Anyway. The silver lining is, it's not over. It's a long time to come for the season. And injuries happen, and not that I'm wishing any injuries on anyone, but they do. And, we'll see what Gardner's performance does for him. But if you ask me, Antonio Pierce is more than willing to pull him if things get hectic or crazy, if you can find a way to justify his action, in my opinion. So, remember, you can't win them all. The clouds get dark. And when you're looking for something bright, come here, baby. The silver lining. Guru out.